Hi everyone, I'm Jessie, editor-in-chief of Third Factor, and I'm here to retroactively introduce to you issue 16, Toward Positive Maladjustment. That is our theme. Of course, positive maladjustment is a big topic in the theory of positive disintegration. We published 4 articles a couple weeks ago and had a couple more underway, but I'm going to tell you I got sick and I dropped a lot of balls. So, at the urging of one of our community leaders, thank you for that, Ralph, I just went live with the 4 that we had, and that was actually fine because there is a lot of stuff in these 4 articles. They're dense and they're good and they're varied. So let me introduce them to you. First, we have part 2 of my interview with Sue Jackson, who you will remember from previous articles. She's a therapist and counselor for the highly gifted, and in Class, Luck, and the Outlier's Quest for Belonging, Sue talks about her own experience growing up in a well-to-do family, and I compare that to my dad's experiences growing up in poverty, among other comparisons. We also take a look at some of these maladaptive coping mechanisms that people adopt when they don't have luck or the resources they need to meet unusual needs, right? If you're an outlier, you're not going to you need something beyond that. And so this is a topic I really want to explore in more depth at Third Factor. That is class. We're talking about class, right? We're just going to go there. And its impact on this population. It's really important, but I haven't seen it talked about very much. So I hope this is useful to some of you out there. Then, next, I am delighted to bring you another interview, this time with Dr. Mike Brooks. He is a therapist in Texas, and his interview is called Getting Unstuck, Countering Polarization with Cognitive Flexibility. Cognitive flexibility is a great topic. It's just another word for the sort of questioning and critical thinking and openness to experience, all those things blending together that we like to talk about here. We talk about it in more depth in the article. And Mike tells us about how the sort of stuckness that he thinks characterizes anxiety and depression in his clinical patients, it's the same sort of stuckness we're seeing in our political landscape here in the United States. Unfortunately, that is also filtering, from what I hear, into other countries. So I'm both hopeful and afraid that those of you who live in other countries will still find this one useful. But Mike was a lot of fun to talk to. I hope that comes through in the interview, so take a look. Moving on from interviews to essays, I am very excited to introduce to you a new contributor by the name of Adam Carrington. Adam is the really thoughtful and creative guy living in the Baltimore area, which, if you're not familiar with geography, that's very close to Washington, D.C., where I live. And so I'm fortunate enough to call him a friend in person. So I'm not a religious person myself, but I'm one of those people who respects faith traditions despite not practicing one. And so I really like to hear, this among other takes, religious people's takes on how to live life. And it was after a discussion with him in which I talked about positive disintegration, and he liked those ideas. Even though he's never read Dabrowski's work, I invited him to contribute some of his thoughts here at Third Factor. I'm very happy to say he took me up on it, and the essay that resulted, the first one, I hope one of many, is called Where True Poverty Resides. Adam paints a thought-provoking picture of his quest to live up to his personality ideal, to use the Dabrowskian term, right? But he doesn't use that language, but that's what he's talking about. He has different language to talk about these universal concepts. So whether you are a Christian, a practicing member of another faith, atheist, agnostic, whatever you are, I hope you find something useful to mull over in Adam's quest to be more like Christ-like. And finally, we have a take from Third Factor regular and my husband, Maxwell Olin Massa, who offers a really poignant take on the sense of alienation when you have an unusual and demanding intellect that wants to explore but has no one to explore with. It circles back really nicely to the interview with Sue Jackson on being an outlier and the sense of luck that's involved in coming across people. So it's sort of showing and not telling that, the same sort of story. The essay is called The Dodo and the Ancient Poet, and it's a sad story, but I'm afraid it will be a relatable one for many of you. So that's our issue. Now a little bit about what you can expect going forward with Third Factor. So my doctor tells me part of the reason I got sick was that I've been overexerting. I didn't have COVID. Did I say that earlier? If I didn't have COVID. So I'm going to experiment with managing Third Factor a little differently. We're going to try smaller and more frequent issues. Probably many of you would have said that was a good idea to begin with. And now I'm getting sick will force you to make those changes. I also really want to balance the general output where I do the editing and writing shorter little op-ed pieces with some more in-depth research. That is what I do for my work, and I really want to do it for this magazine too. Now, proper research is a lot of work, and it's what always gets cut because it takes the most time, and running the rest of Third Factor crowds it out. So I'm trying to expand our team. I hope that I will have some new people to introduce to you in the future. The near future. But the big problem is that we don't have the budget to pay our editors, and quality volunteers with both skills and free time and interest are really hard to come by. So I really want to pay people. That would expand the range of people who would be willing to work for us, and rightly so. Like, these people should be paid. If you like the product, and especially editors, I could give you my time, but these people are doing something for my baby, right? And they have to listen to me as a sort of boss. So I want to pay them. So this is where I interject the please consider becoming a patron through Patreon or PayPal, even if you don't want to participate in our community. I have maxed out what I can do individually for this magazine. And though we have some quality volunteers who I'm endlessly grateful to, we have reached the point where we can only grow with financial support. So to those of you already supporting us, thank you. You have made it possible for us to get this far, to revamp our website, to make it look more professional, and to pay authors for pieces that don't really require the editor's time, which is why I have to have that two-tier system, which we want to move away from when we get the resources. Of course, so you can, whether you want to join the community or not, please consider supporting to enable the in-depth research and to help our volunteers. Of course, community is also a feature if you join, and there we're talking about my recent sick days and how this idea of being a super stimulable, overexcitable orchid probably exacerbated them. See, my hair actually started falling out during COVID, and that's pretty distressing. And my doctor tells me that that's really common. In fact, her hair started falling out. She actually had COVID, which was a good excuse for your hair to fall out. I did not, but you don't have to have had COVID to have been stressed by the pandemic, and stress will cause your hair to fall out. So what I actually got sick from was the treatment for that, which is a blood pressure lowering medication, to which I had a really bad reaction that my dermatologist was like, whoa, you really were horribly dizzy every day and you couldn't do work. That's an unusual response. You must really just be one of those sensitive people to medication. Yeah, welcome to our world. I'm sharing this because I think some of you will relate. I quit the medication and I'm trying to eat better and not stress, which is a good bit of advice for everyone. They tell me my hair will probably grow back. Fingers crossed. There are worse stories than that. Losing your hair is not the worst thing in the world. Come talk to us in the forum about it if you want. We have that. We're talking friendships and belonging. We're talking about capitalism and its supporters and detractors, and about blooming, and all of that is there. But of course you have to come in and participate to make it lively. So we're still pretty slow-paced and small. It won't be overwhelming. And there's a place for you to come in and help shape it still. So jump in, join us. But for now, if you haven't yet read the articles, head over to thirdfactor.org and take a look. For now, this is me, Jessie Manisto, Editor-in-Chief, saying thank you. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for reading. And I will catch you next month.